Morning, everybody. Happy New Year. Welcome to week 18 of a very exciting upcoming football weekend.
Let's go down to Tom and Brent.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to kick off this exciting game, and a big shout out to the Flagler Boys podcast studio for producing this show.
What's up, my brother?
Hey, Tom.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, man.
Man, does it get any better than this? We'll talk about exciting Saturday football for the number one seed in the NFC and for playoffs for the division in the NFC South.
Yeah,
Exciting
man.
stuff.
And
Saturday.
Saturday's going to be a treat, man. It's Seahawks, 49ers, probably two of the best teams in all of the NFL, not just the NFC. And, man, you got Seattle at San Francisco. And San Francisco's peaking at the right time. Sam Darnold's peaking right now for the Seahawks. It's
It's going to come down to the defenses, and they're both doing it with a young backfield, the young third level for the Seahawks, and then the 49ers. Just a bunch of good plug and play guys. Robert Saleh's done an amazing job as their defensive coordinator. So, I mean, and then offensively, I mean, Kittle is questionable, game time decision. That's a big deal. But, I mean, they played well without him last week. I mean, Purdy looks good. Purdy looks real good. McCaffrey is McCaffrey. I think their offensive line, they're getting Trey Williams back. Best offensive lineman in football, bar none. So I think that's going to be a fun game, boy.
Yeah, man. I think it's what everyone kind of was hoping for, the San Francisco, because there's a while there in the season where I thought San Francisco, man, the season's kind of slipping away, and they righted the ship. And defensive coordinator, the old ball coach for the Jets, man, he's showing the NFL why he's one of the best.
Oh yeah, he's going to get another job. You go and you play. You coach for the Jets, you get a pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely get a pass. And I'm going to be saying this. I've been saying this for 20 years. Do you know that they are the team with the longest streak without a playoff game in all sports?
Well, I could see, for a while, I'm a Detroit Lions fan, so that was kind of our distinction for all those years. It's like, oh God, Detroit, it's been 1991 since we won a playoff game, I think. And when we got,
at least, thanks for leaving us. But going back to the real football teams, Tampa Bay, that loss to Miami has proved pivotal, because had they just won, they clinched this out. Now they can win the game and take Carolina's dreams away. But they have to hope Atlanta loses. And Atlanta's playing New Orleans, and those two teams are red hot.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy. So Tampa Bay, Miami, that was a tough game.
And you know what? They what a season that Tampa Bay had. They started off I think 6-2 at one point. And now they're 8-8, and they're reeling. And you're absolutely right, Tom. Even if they beat Carolina, they still have to have a little bit of help. They have to have Atlanta lose to the Saints. And Atlanta's playing pretty good football. Bijan Robinson right now, I think he just had 225 all-purpose yards the other night.
Crazy. 225 yards rushing. He almost had 300. I mean, the guy is amazing. Bijan is the real deal.
Yeah.
I mean, his cuts, they talk Barry like he is Barry.
I think he might be, for a while there, I was saying Jahmyr Gibbs and Saquon Barkley and Bijan Robinson were all kind of like 1, 2, 3. I wouldn't argue with anybody putting Bijan Robinson as the number one back all of NFL.
I agree. And he's got good hands out of the backfield. I've seen him catch wheel routes over the shoulder like a wide receiver, which is impressive. But, going back to Miami, going back to Tampa Bay and Carolina, Bryce Young has to come and play, because last week's 54 yards passing was a disaster.
Yeah,
listen, this is my thing. I was a big supporter of Tampa Bay. Their offense, Baker throws for 350, 3 touchdowns, and you lose means your defense is brutal. And I can tell you this, and I love Todd Bowles to death, but that defense that he's had, and you have some of the blame has to go to management, because you think about this, and I was looking at this trying to figure out the whole Tampa Bay dilemma, and their best players are the two middlemen, Vita Vea and Levante David. Okay? Yeah. So then anything other than that, their secondary is horrible. They thought the kid Parrish was going to be a big star, but he was benched. So, their three levels, they have one, Vita Vea. That's it.
Yeah.
And then Hassan Riddick they were expecting, Hassan Riddick, demanded all that money from Philadelphia. They didn't pay him. Of course, who paid him? The Jets. And what did he do for the Jets? Nothing.
Yeah.
Goes to Tampa Bay, gets a big deal for 1 year because they wanted to see something, and he hasn't done anything either.
He hasn't. You're right. And I'm just kind of looking at that matchup right now, Carolina and at Tampa Bay. And Bryce Young, he's got respectable numbers on the year. He's got 2,745 passing yards. He's got 21 touchdowns, 10 picks. You know, he's having a serviceable year, but he's starting to look more and more like the number 1 overall pick. But I'll tell you what, that running back, they're going to have to run the ball against Tampa Bay. Donald, he's got over 1,000 yards on the year, and
Chuba Hubbard is not a bad guy that rushes behind him.
You don't know, he's a great 1-2 punch. Yeah, I'd argue that they're probably one of the top 3 1-2 punches in all of NFL.
I agree.
Yeah. And McMillan, wide receiver, he's about to eclipse
T-Mac.
Yeah.
T-Mac is the deal. When they were taking him out of Arizona, I was like, wow, he's going before an LSU or an Ohio State wide receiver. And, man, he was the first overall wide receiver picked in the draft.
Yeah, he was.
He's a stud.
Yeah, he is a stud.
He is a stud.
I remember watching that on draft night. I'm thinking that it's going to be one of the Ohio State guys or maybe Emeka Ibuka. That's who I was thinking was going to get. And this guy came off the board. Was it like 8th overall pick or 10th or something? Eighth overall pick, yeah.
And you know, the funny thing is, T-Mac, because I can't pronounce it or even try to begin to pronounce his first name. But
yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah. So all right, well, we covered Saturday, Sunday's games. I mean, the reality, there's the biggest one I'm saying is Pittsburgh, Baltimore. Winner wins the the AFC North. I mean, who would have thought? Who would have thought the Ravens are going to come back in after their disastrous loss 2 weeks ago? I thought they were out of it, and then they turn around and do what Baltimore should be doing. Derrick Henry. 30 times a game. He ran the ball 36 times for 215. You have to be an idiot not to give the ball to Derrick Henry.
It's 35, 40 times a game.
Yeah. I mean, he's built for it.
6'3", 235, Heisman winner.
Built for it. His body, that man takes care. They were talking about his routine, his off-season routine, his in-season routine. He's like Tom Brady with the TB12.
Yeah.
You know, the diet, the way they eat. LeBron does it. Look at these guys that all took away, changed their eating habits, their lifestyle changes that they made, and they're tremendously fit, playing football in their 40s, and being able to take care of your body. And that's
I tell you a little interesting side note about that Tampa Bay Baltimore game. So you got Baltimore going to Pittsburgh. I feel the loser of this game is that, well, obviously they're going to be out of the playoffs, but I think if you go a little bit further than that, the loser of this game, I believe their head coach will no longer be with this program. I believe. You
really think they fired Harbaugh or Tomlin?
I do, honestly. I think that as much as the Steeler Nation, kind of believes in Tomlin, and he has got.
I think they're questioning you lately.
I think they are too, and this year, I know last year they went, I want to say 10-7. They make the playoffs, but they lost in the first round. This year,
they haven't won a playoff game in 8 years or 10 years, and Tomlin's. Let's face it, an organization that's has had only 3 head coaches in its entire.
That's incredible.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
and all 3 have had massive, monster success. But I don't think it's Tomlin's credentials that gets him fired. I think it's just stale.
Yeah.
So I think you might be right on the Tomlin situation. I think it's just stale. The injuries, but you also have to look at the front office because they haven't replaced the quarterback since Roethlisberger. They thought they had something with Justin Fields, and then they bring in
Russell Wilson,
and now Aaron Rodgers.
It just doesn't see the Pittsburgh. I grew up watching like the Ben Roethlisberger, and Heinz Ward. I remember
that the bus.
Yeah, Troy Polamalu, and they just had a different edge to them. It like the Steeler Nation, baby. Like that was my my second team I rooted for. I went to school in Butler, PA, but. So I kind of rooted for them, growing up, and it just, that defense used to always be that really hard-hitting defense. The offense maybe would only put up 17 points a game, but their defense would only give up like 10, 12, 13 points, and it's just not there right now. I don't see the toughness. I don't see the grittiness, so I don't know. I feel, and as crazy as it sounds, Harbaugh has won a Super Bowl. I don't think that Baltimore, I feel like their peak was already, they've had their peak. They got Derrick Henry there. They got Lamar Jackson right now in the prime of his life.
That's a big. Having Lamar Jackson back is a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, and he said he would never let Baltimore Nation or the Raven Nation down. Denise from our little group there, she's her and Mr. D are having that infamous battle. I mean, they gamble on donuts. Denise will call me and says, "What do you think? It's a Boston cream on the line." So, yeah. So, I mean, excuse me. Buffalo plays the Jets. That should be a lock. I mean, you start to look at games where teams are going to be resting. I don't think New England is going to rest anybody because New England's still playing for the number 1 seed overall. And with Denver playing the Chargers, I think you had mentioned that the line is 12.5. Now, the only way LA Chargers are getting 12.5.
Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert not playing.
He's got to not be playing.
I'm thinking that's because there's no gain for the Chargers where they finish. They're going to still have that same seed. So this is one of those weeks that's other teams are dependent on other teams, and then people are resting their guys because the playoffs are more important. Buffalo, I'm sure Josh Allen or Cook are not playing, James Cook, but that doesn't matter. They can still be 20-point favorites against the Jets.
I'll tell you which is really interesting right here. So, like you just said right there, Buffalo looks like they're going to probably lock up like the 6th seed, so they're going to probably end up traveling. But I'll tell you what, the number 2 seed in the NFC. That's home field advantage throughout the playoffs, but between the 2 seed and the 3 seed, it's not that big of a difference. So what I'm hearing is Philadelphia kind of conceded the number 3 or the number 2 seed, so they're going to rest everyone in week 3. So they're going to be falling at the 3 spot, which should make that game. It's going to be the loser of the Seahawks and 49ers game will travel to Philadelphia. That's all the more important to win that game.
Yeah, I don't want to play Philly in Philly.
No, not coming off of a rest either, because Nick Sirianni, he's not going to play.
Sirianni's record at home playoffs is, I think he's undefeated, or he only has 1 loss. I mean,
yeah,
Philadelphia. I don't want to play them, but again, we talked about this the last 2 weeks, and that's the fact is this is wide open. I mean, this is anybody's ball game because I think anybody in the AFC, I think the AFC could beat a San Francisco or a Seattle, or and I think now the Patriots are the only ones to me that are questionable. I mean, their strength of schedule was horrific. Anybody good that they've played, they've been waxed by.
What did we say? Their strength of schedule was like 33% that the teams that they played had a winning percentage.
It was the 32nd ranked strength of schedule.
Wow, that's right, because they coming off of like a 13-loss season last year. That's right. Okay. Wow.
Bring in Vrabel, and I listen. But when you're playing, New Orleans at that time, I mean, they played. If you look at the schedule, you'll see what I'm talking about. The Rams, like I said, we said Buffalo, but the Bears, I don't think the Bears have anything to play for. I think the Bears have taken the 2 seed with Philadelphia sitting everybody down, right? Isn't that correct?
Yeah, no, you're right. Basically, so the Bears seems like they're going to go ahead and lock that up. They're going to end up being this 2 seed, and it's Detroit. Detroit's coming to Soldier Field. Chicago's nothing really to play for. We'll see Chicago, I believe. Pride. There is pride on the line.
Dan Campbell is not going to lay down to anybody.
No.
When anybody says he's coming out, he's going to come out with guns blazing. And the Bears, if they can, concede the loss and they still stay at the number 2 seed, I get it. But I mean, pride comes into it with that division. I lived in Chicago for 15 years, and man, they bleed their football, their sports, their Chicago passionate people.
And also,
laying down at Soldier Field to the Lions.
No. And Dan Campbell also, he's hearing all the whispers. People are saying, wow, was it really just Ben Johnson from 2022 to 2024 that you had the number 1 offense in the NFL? Jahmyr Gibbs had MVP.
Wasn't Shane Steichen there too?
Yeah. Well, the offense seemed to peak around 22, 23, 24. They went to the NFC Championship game and lost to the Rams. But yeah, so it's like, Dan Campbell's got to, he has to kind of prove to everyone in Detroit that, this is my team. This is who our identity is through me, not Ben Johnson. So I feel like Detroit has a lot to play for too. But like you said, the Eagles pretty much are going to just lock up the 3 seed. Cause I believe that they're going to go ahead and rest Hurts, and they're going to rest Barkley. They're going to probably rest most of their starters on defense. So they're going to be a 3 seed, and they're more likely going to they're definitely going to host, but it's more likely probably going to be the loser of the 49ers and the Seahawks.
Yeah, so the Rams Cardinals. I'm assuming the Rams are locked into where they're not gonna move anywhere. I mean, that loss last week to Atlanta. Look, that's got to be kicking them because that's just not.
Yeah,
It was a loss that shouldn't have happened.
it shouldn't have, and because of that loss, now this last week of the season, they had an opportunity to play for the number 1 overall seed. But now this game. The game against the Cardinals it's kind of meaningless.
They're locked in at 4, right?
Well, they're not. So what? They're going to be locked in more than likely. They're going to be 6. They're going to be 6. So.
Again, that means a road game and, probably somewhere cold.
You know how this is crazy that division is so good that their number 1 team in the NFC West will be the number 1 overall seed in all of football or all the NFC. The 2 seed in that division will end up being the 5th seed, and the 3rd place team in that division will end up still making in the playoffs, being the 6th seed. That's just incredible. You got 3 teams, and they're all
I actually
great.
thought the loser of that game Sunday would still be a 3 seed, but I forgot it's division winners.
Yeah, that's the only thing. By numbers, though, Tom, you would be absolutely right. They would be the 3rd best team in the NFC, but because of the conference tie-ins and all that. So
yeah, just like we were talking about New England's schedule, playing the Dolphins, they have to go out and win. So I mean, that's why it's a 10.5 point spread. You could tell that they're because they're going to go starters, and Vrabel's mentality, just like Belichick, they don't have that lay down system. They don't have that lay down philosophy in their DNA. It's
no,
just
they
not
don't.
who they are.
Yeah.
And when you go to the Denver and the Chargers, we talked about that. But Kansas City and the Raiders. Really, is there anything to talk about Kansas City and the Raiders?
Not really. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is going to be watching from the sideline.
So's
Max
Minshew.
Minshew and Max Crosby, I heard, is having surgery now too.
I think that they're the number one. They're the number 1 pick right now in the NFL for the draft.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and I can tell you this: that hurts. I don't know, but because I've been reading mixed feelings that Jackson Dart might not be the Giants. Might not be putting everything into Jackson Dart because
I heard that.
they're talking about them looking at quarterbacks as well.
Yeah,
and that's just the frustrating thing for that is the Jets, the poor Jets. They would, Let me tell you, Mendoza, real deal.
Yeah, Mendoza
is the real deal. And let's take it over to college, as a matter of fact. Those 3 games yesterday, I mean, well, we can go back to even New Year's Eve. Miami went into Ohio, played Ohio State. Didn't go into it, but Miami played Ohio State, and they took them to the woodshed, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Some people are saying Ohio State, they could have won the game if this would have happened. Yeah, if that, yeah.
I'll tell you what, man, what a treat. I'm a huge college football guy. I love college football, and I was in heaven for like the last 2 days. You had Miami come in, and Miami, I thought 100% Ohio State was going to win that game. So I'll admit I was dead wrong on that game. I cannot believe that. But Ohio State, they came into that game, I think, heavy favorites. And Miami, they dominated the line of scrimmage. They dominated the run game. And Miami's defense was lights out, man.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, Brent, I think one of the things that they need to look at from a committee standpoint, 25 days is what Ohio State went because of that first bye.
Yeah.
25 days between games.
Oh, wow.
That's a long layoff playing against your own defense. You can do that, Yeah, it's getting you ready. You're playing against a top defense in college football. Ohio State's up there in defense, but it's nothing like the speed of the game with everything on the line. And Miami, they say with Miami, we talked about it, when they get off the bus, they are looking more like an NFL team than anybody else. They're big, they're strong, they're fast. A lot of Florida kids in that on that roster, and that offensive tackle at 6'10",
yeah,
360 pounds is freakish to look at.
He's a monster.
He's bigger than a doorway.
Yeah.
He's the biggest man I've ever seen, and he just moves people. I mean, like you see him block, and then on the defensive side, we talked about it off air, was Bain.
Oh, God. What a monster game.
He came up on a sweep, sweep left. He drove the offensive tackle so far back into the running back and then wrapped them both up. And then I've never seen an offensive lineman pancaked on the other side of a tackle that was being made as well.
Yeah.
That was freakish.
Yeah.
That's who Miami is.
Yeah, Miami, you know what? I'm looking at the regular season now. They are the only team that's in the playoffs right now to have beat 3 top 10 teams. They beat Notre Dame in the beginning of the year. They beat Texas A&M in State College with 100,000 people there. And then they just beat Ohio State, they're not only good, they had a historically good defense this year. They were only allowing 8 points. They were only allowing 217 rushing or 200 total yards all year. It's Miami. It looks impressive. So yeah, Miami. Hats off to the Hurricanes, man. The U is back, or like Cristobal likes to say, we're here. We're not just back. We're here.
I like that. We're here. I saw that. And then we go to Georgia Ole Miss. Okay, you and I talked about Georgia Ole Miss.
What a game.
The Lane Kiffin, we just assumed the Lane Kiffin effect was going to be in playing Tulane or James Madison, whoever they played in week 1. Doesn't matter. It was a game that was like, whatever. And Ole Miss took Georgia to the woodshed.
Yeah, man. Like Ole Miss, man, how good for them too. With all the talk about, hey, Ole Miss, you guys are, you're only there because of Lane Kiffin. I feel like, good for them, man. Yeah. Like, good for them. They're going to move on and they're going to end up playing Miami the next game, but good for them. Well, we'll see how far like this Cinderella story goes, but hats off.
Yeah, they made a big deal that Lane Kiffin didn't show up. He was at an LSU women's basketball game.
I saw that. Yeah.
But I mean, one of the things I respect Lane Kiffin for was that the offensive coordinator, Charlie Weiss's kid, Charlie Weiss Jr., who's an offensive genius back in the Brady, getting Brady off and Brady going, and Charlie Weiss and the rest of Kiffin's staff, the guys that he's taken with him to LSU, all stayed. They said they owed it to the kids, they owed it to themselves to see they wanted to finish what they started. They understood Kiffin had to do what he has to do because of recruiting.
Yeah,
it's important he has to get out on the road and start recruiting and doing the business side of a head coach. So I respect it, and I don't blame Kiffin for that. But good, I felt it was a good feeling for Ole Miss and those kids losing the head coach, the guy who brought them there. The reason they're there was because Lane Kiffin brought them there, and
good for the fans too.
And you know what, Georgia. First of all, in the first quarter, they couldn't tackle. And I started to see this. I go, this is not going to look good. And then Georgia went ahead 24-10. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, Georgia righted the ship.
I thought it was over at that point.
Then all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. Ole Miss.
They tried to trade in haymakers back and forth.
And then Georgia couldn't move the ball because Ole Miss D stepped up. So,
I'll tell you what, that Gunnar Stockton though, he played what a game, man. Like he's a warrior, man. He time after time after time, he did. I'll tell you what though, Georgia ultimately, they played lights out against Alabama in the SEC championship game. Ole Miss just has that dynamic of an offense, and I think that quarterback.
You can tell that's he sprinkle that great.
Yeah,
Charlie Weiss will take. He deserves the credit.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
But and Chambliss for Ole Miss, he had a good game, and I've seen him have some bad games. They go offensively as he goes, and the offensive line, they established a run against Georgia. Like I said, Georgia couldn't tackle, so that was detrimental to their result. But Chambliss had a good game. He looked good. He was throwing wide side out patterns that were strong throws. So he's got some good arm talent. And then you look at on the defensive side of the ball. Listen, they're going to outscore you if you don't bring it defensively. And so
I kind of saw the writing on the wall when Kirby Smart, one of the best coaches in all college right now, he goes for it on fourth and 2. I think he's in like the 34-yard line. He goes for fake punt, and that tells you something like that. That tells you that he knew something. He could see the game, how the game was going. He knew Ole Miss was going to put up a lot of points. So man, what a game though, man! That game, what a crazy ending. It ended up with a safety, and then they had to take the stage back off the field. It was
crazy
debacle. But
to me, I have it in my bracket that I picked in the beginning before the playoffs started, and that's Indiana.
Oh God, Indiana! What an impressive
back in the backfield. That kid was he just bounces off people. He was a pinball machine, just go boom, boom, boom.
What a game!
And Mendoza. Man,
What?
that's a kid. That's the Heisman Trophy guy. That
Yeah.
Pena,
Oh, you know what's crazy? Like, so Indiana comes into this game, and there was people, including myself, a lot of people around the country, Josh Page, Joe Klatt, a lot of people picked Alabama to win. And Indiana, Alabama was a 7-point underdog, I believe. In Indiana, man, let me tell you, just thoroughly dominated, outplayed, everything.
All three phases.
All three
Special
phases.
teams, defense, and offense.
Listen to this stat, Tom. So Indiana, they rushed for 215 yards. Alabama only had a total of 193 total yards, not rush. Alabama only rushed for 23 yards. Ty Simpson had, they had 170 yards passing, 23 rushing yards.
They ended up benching Simpson.
He said it was her, but he
did look like he couldn't throw the ball.
He did, and I'll tell you what, man. One thing I was impressed about, Indiana, they have the Heisman Trophy winning, but one thing that stood out to me was that defense. The way they hit. Wow.
Yeah. Signetti. That's a Signetti stamp.
Yeah.
He is. I almost punched the table. Signetti is an animal. I mean, as a coach, I watch him. He's ferocious. His pregame speech, fun. His pregame speech is awesome. I mean, he's like Ryan Day. Hair on my arm stands up. I love that. That's the thing I love about football, college, pro. That tremendous fraternity that it is. That tremendous. You got to get yourself ready, mentally prepared to play a game of football. It's a violent game, and that's what I love. That's the other thing I love about Cristobal. He says you got to be violent.
That's right.
Especially things that violent. He always mentions we got to be more violent. It is a violent game.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, though. Anybody who doubted Indiana before this game, silence. I don't think everyone kind of saw that game. And if you were just kind of like a casual, college football fan, kind of just, checking in on the playoffs, you would say, what is going on here? Folks, let me tell you, Indiana is here and they're not going anywhere. This program, they do everything the right way. The offensive line is incredible. That defense is incredible. And I don't know how you could say that they're not the clear-cut favorites right now to win it all. Until somebody else beats them, They dismantled Alabama.
Absolutely. And I can tell you this, the Indiana's going to play Oregon, which was one of the best games in college football.
Wow, yeah.
Early in the season, that pass Mendoza threw at the back of the end zone, that tremendous catch.
Probably one of the plays of the year.
Yeah. And it turned out to win the game.
It won the Heisman for him pretty much. That was a Heisman moment.
Yeah, it was a Heisman moment. You're right. And that's a rematch that we're going to see. And that's, the Indiana Oregon is we're going to see next. And Oregon went out and shut out Texas Tech.
Oh God!
Tremendously powerful, gifted offense was stifled.
Yeah, I absolutely. This is one I just love the college football playoffs. A couple tweaks I would do with the 11 and 12 seed, but right now you're getting. I mean, what a dream for college football fans. We got Indiana undefeated, a rematch against Oregon at a neutral site this time. So yeah, it's going to be. I can't wait. I can't wait, man.
Me neither. And then it's just this is the time of year. I mean, from Thursday to Sunday, I'm exhausted of all the sports and how much we've talked about. And it's like you don't even have to sit. We didn't even have to go into a studio and practice this because this is just real life. Yeah. This is just a busy weekend in sports. We're not searching for no hitters. Everything's coming right out.
Yeah.
This is it's fun stuff. I always love this time of year. And if you're a full sports fan like we are, we got college basketball, the NBA, the Knicks, we got everybody. I mean, it's and
I can't
looking for the Yankee trade. How excited I am.
I go to my streaming sites and it's like overflow of sports right now. I love it.
Speaking of which, 3 picks. We were 2-1 last week. We're going to go 3 picks and give you our 3 picks again. So if we're predicting to be 5-1 by the end of this week. And we're going to go, first of all, we're going to take, we agreed that we're going to go San Francisco.
San Francisco is going to be plus 1.5 at home.
At home. I think San Francisco.
I like that.
I think the cover. Yeah.
I like that pick.
Yeah. The second one was what? The Ravens were taking?
Yeah. Yep. We're going to take Baltimore minus 3.5. They are on the road, but I still like that, especially without DK Metcalf.
And no TJ Watt.
Oh, wow.
They said he was going to play and now it's up in the air.
I liked them before I knew about TJ Watt.
Yeah, right. And Lamar Jackson's back. That's enough.
Yeah, I did.
Enough said. Derrick Henry, this is not the Pittsburgh defensive norm
no.
of old. And then our third pick was, what did we take?
I think Carolina +3 on the road against Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay can't stop us all.
No, they can't. And I just feel like Carolina, they're a young team. Bryce Young,
You better outscore.
They better,
Tampa
yeah.
Bay's going to score some points.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Tampa Bay's going to score some points if Bucky Irving gets more than 8 carries for 8 carries.
Yeah,
for 18 yards.
Got to
That's
draw
not how
some.
You got to give Bucky Irving. You got just run behind Wirfs. I mean, he's the second best offensive lineman.
Yeah,
behind Trey Williams.
he's a beast.
But those are our 3 picks, and we hope everybody tunes in with us next week as we're going to go live. This amazing show is going live.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.